Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Nick Nascimento. Today, I'm going to be deep diving on the power of clarity, okay? Conviction. So anybody wavering in their conviction for the product or feeling like they just are lacking something to sell at a higher level, this is for you. Every salesperson, no matter what they sell, goes through a phase, goes through a window where they are lacking conviction to some degree. And so I'm going to break down how to get conviction, not just in your product, but in yourself, and then in empowering other people. So we're going to be talking about the E3P3 model. And this is the foundation of a personal conviction, product conviction, and people conviction. If you have those, you have the ultimate foundation to influence at the highest level. Not just selling people, but recruiting and leading as well. So if you're trying to build teams, this is going to be a fantastic training. So guys, it was just yesterday that I had to literally pause all my work. I didn't have any meetings, and I sat down for 10 hours and I literally just brain mapped. And the point of me doing this was to slow down, to speed up, to get clarity, okay? Because clarity is always before speed. Money loves speed. But if there's no clarity, there's going to be no alignment with you and your people. And if you're a salesperson, if you don't have clarity, which is conviction and certainty, you're not going to have alignment and be able to connect and ultimately influence and sell other people. So this E3P3 model, let me cover this real quick. Okay. So you have the three drivers of sales, which are the E's, the effort, expertise, and efficiency. Effort's your work and volume. Expertise is your skills and knowledge. And efficiency is the systems and the time management. Now, we're not going to be deep diving on that. We will in other trainings, but we're going to be talking about the product conviction, personal conviction, and then people convictions. So let's jump into it with product conviction. The foundational principle here is you sell to the degree that you are sold. So sometimes we say, hey, I'm only making $10,000 a month. How do I get to $50,000 a month? What objection one-liner do I need? You know, what part of the script am I missing? What close lines am I missing? And that's not the right place. Number one, you start with your mindset. Number two, you start with your conviction, your belief in your product. And so now why does this matter to anybody listening? You could be immersed in a product. You could have even made millions selling your particular product or service, but we all hit a point where we become kind of robotic. It becomes autonomous. All right. And with that, you innately will dwindle in your conviction. It's that fire. And this conviction, literally, scientists have studied this. When people talk out of passion, your amygdala fires, and the person watching you, Harvard did a study on this. They put on brain sensors on their heads, and the person listening and engaging with the person talking with this enthusiasm, their amygdala lights up as well. So that's the emotional driver in their brain. So that's what gets people to buy and ultimately make decisions. And so when you talk out of passion versus not, when that person, that same study wasn't talking from a point of conviction and belief, and enthusiasm, the other amygdala and the other person, the emotional part of their brain didn't light up. So it's very powerful, this principle. So the first thing I want to dive into is track not just your income, but your impact. You need to track both. You need to obsess on how much you're making commissions, but simultaneously, you need to also look at the impact you're making. So guys, to drive this home, Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich, the most famous self-development book in history, second to the Bible. He said the 6-step formula to acquire riches. Number one, get clear with the exact amount of money you want to make. Step number two, determine the exact value you're going to give other people in return for the money you receive. How often do you see a salesperson or entrepreneur set a goal with income, and then side by side, right next to the goal is a goal on the impact that they're going to create? So when I was making $200,000 a month selling solar, this is exactly what I did. I put up a big poster in my wall. So I woke up every morning, and when I came back home every day before I went to bed, I saw on my poster board, and I'd write on there every day, the customer name, the commission made, and then the impact on them financially. So for solar, the 30-year savings is what I was tracking, the long-term savings based on conservative inflation numbers. And these numbers range from $50,000 to $150,000 in this particular market in Utah where I was selling. And so that got me very convicted, seeing that every day. Now, it's one thing to tell people what it is, but when you live on it and you obsess on it, when nobody's around, when your prospects aren't around, and you're tracking this, I'm telling you, that's a different energy. And it's portrayed completely different. People feel it. and it can't be faked. So it's less about talking about doing it, and it's more about just doing it, living it. So if you really care about your customers, are you tracking the impact? Do you obsess on it? Are there numerical values? If you're selling life insurance, are you tracking all the families that you've helped? Is it in front of you every single day? Is that number of your obsession? To this day, my company, not just me, but everyone at Sparta, when we make a sale, we are posting in our group chats, we are posting on social media, the 30-year savings for the client. We're obsessed, not just what's in it for us, but what's in it for them. And the more we focus on this, the more we make. The more you give, the more you get. So here's the litmus test if you're wondering, where's my conviction at? Do you own your product or service? Do you use it? Have you bought it? Or have you sold your friends or your family? If not, I highly encourage you to go take the time to sell yourself, sell your family. I had a guy in the solar industry that says, dude, the numbers don't pencil out for me that much with my home, yada, yada. And I said, brother, I won't give you guys his name, but I said, look, if your power bill is 100 and the solar bill was 700 a month, that will be the number one best investment you make all year. Okay. And obviously the solar was nowhere near that. It was like $20 more a month than his average bill. And that was with him making a commission on it. And so, and now he did it. He got the conviction, and guess what? His sales soared because he was talking out of conviction, out of certainty. Okay. Guys, there's confidence that comes from how you do something well. Then there's conviction, the next tier. And that comes from why you do it, AKA the impact on other people. And then there's certainty, which is the highest level of influence, leadership, sales, everything. Okay. And that comes from how you live. And so when you buy your product or service and your people in your personal life have it, that's a different level of conviction. And people buy that energy. It's very real. So you have to remember, people don't just buy you. They buy your conviction and they buy your certainty. And that leads me to the next point, which is personal conviction. So you could have all the conviction in your product or service, but if you are a walking, talking loser, I'm sorry, you're not going to have a lot of success. Nobody's going to listen to you. As a salesperson, you are a walking, talking billboard. People do more listening with their eyes than they do their ears. Whether they are Christian, religious, or not, they are judging you. In today's world, credibility is one of the most influential things. So your resume of how you live your life, what you do behind the scenes, not just in accolades and accomplishments and people you've sold and how many families you're helping, right? But how you actually live your life, because it transmutes directly into your energy every day and people will feel that. This is called moral authority. So my challenge for you guys is to slow down and ask yourself a few questions, okay? At the end of the day, what am I aiming to do? And this is for you guys to go deep, okay? The emotional development of a man or woman will largely impact their ability to grow and influence others in business, period. All right? So, for example, a person who's very, very reactive, hasn't done a lot of work, that person likely has a lot of vices in their life and struggles. So not only is time management, consistency, work ethic, positive attitude a problem, self-esteem, but also they're probably more impulsive, meaning when people give objections, they might get defensive. And instead of siding with them and agreeing and empathizing with people, which makes it your job easier to sell them, they might quickly rattle off why that person's wrong, which will just backfire. And so this translates not just with selling people, but in leadership, especially. Your emotional health as a man or woman is pivotal to your success. And so slowing down to understand you, what are the good parts of you, what are the bad parts, and lean into it, right? Journal about it. A lot of people just tuck this stuff under the rug, hide it, and just try to forget about it, their childhood, their trauma, but go in and sit with it. This will bring you closer to yourself and your higher power. And ultimately, this will influence you. And what I've learned is the more you change yourself, the more authority you have to change other people, AKA sell, recruit, influence. There's the famous quote that if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. So take a sheet of paper and write down two different sides, okay? Where am I at now? Where do I want to be? The 10X version of me. Go from your physical health, your emotional health, your financial, mental health, spiritual health, your career, your mission, your relationships, and rank yourself. And you want to be very true and very honest, because the truth is what sets you free. If you're a 3 out of 10 and you buffer it and say you're a 5, you're only hurting yourself. This is just for you and you. And so the weak points, the lowest areas of your life, represent the greatest opportunities for transformation. And ultimately, that will cause a direct impact in your business and everything else you do. And so if you can slow down and look at yourself in the mirror, where am I at in these areas, and then make specific improvements in just one or two areas, and set goals around those and work on them every day. It could be breaking a new habit, a vice. It could be going to the gym, building your physique. It could be new habits with relationships, new routines, whatever it is, but set those in place and start building it, and it will have a compound effect on your ability to sell and lead people. All right, the third part of conviction, guys, is people conviction. So you could have all the confidence and conviction for the product you sell and all the certainty in the world, but if you don't have a desire to help people and make them better than when you found them, you will always be inhibiting your growth and your success. So I'm going to list off and read off a few things for you guys. I want you to check yourself, okay? What is your view on people as a whole? Do you believe at the core every person is good and has good intent? Do you see others as brothers and sisters? Are you able to feel genuine love for people that you just met? Okay, that one's hard for a lot of people. Are you able to put yourself in their shoes and forget your agenda? In sales lingo, we call this detachment. All right. Are you focusing on making a transaction or a transformation in their life? All right. So here's, I want to break down the actual science behind this of how having love for people and putting their needs first will literally translate into results in your work. All right. So number one, when you get rejected by people, it could be in sales, at business. I mean, rejection is just part of the game. It's inevitable for success. Now, when you get rejected, when you have love for people, you don't feel sorry for yourself. You feel sorrow, genuine sorrow for them because they're missing out. Not in a form of sense of ego or pride, like, oh, your loss, but of, shoot, man, you don't know what you turned down. It's this, I have the cure to cancer mentality that's infectious. The second, it shifts you from convince mode to teacher mode. One is an attached form of selling. The other is a detached form of selling. The more you lean in and are attached, the more people lean out. The more you lean out and detach, the more people lean in, the more curious and interested they become. Third, so when you shift your mentality about closing from I'm doing this for me to make a sale, and you shift it to I'm doing this to help you, and they can feel that, closing happens seamlessly. People will often close themselves and say, what's next? Fourth, this is the most important. It shifts you from seeking to be understood to seeking to understand, which innately, if you first seek to understand, it is the fastest way to be understood, aka have them want what you want. Oftentimes we go into a relationship, we go into a sale with a prospect, trying to just listen, ask a couple questions, and we start just throwing everything on them of why they should do something. When really people at their core are craving to be heard and understood. It's one of the greatest human needs we all have. And most people we interact with on a day-to-day basis are craving this. They're lacking it. And so this is a phenomenal way to serve people. No matter what you sell, okay, you have an ability and an opportunity to listen, empathize, and impact somebody that day. So as you do this, usually people will uncover objections or concerns that they normally wouldn't have if you were seeking first to understand, push your agenda, hard close, and try to sell them, okay? It allows you to empathize, which is the superpower to selling. Most salespeople just bulldoze the objections, but when you actually empathize and understand them, the truth usually comes out. It's easier for you to hedge their concerns and ultimately close the deal. I follow a framework that I call the triple A's of selling, of hedging objections. And it's number one is you agree, you side with them. Hey, Nick, I'm not interested in solar. Rob, 100%, I totally get it. From your perspective, it probably doesn't save money, a lot of money out of pocket. Okay. Then you ask a clarifying question. Rob, is it the solar you don't like, or was it the fact that it was going to cost you money out of pocket? And then even if that guess is wrong, they'll tell you usually what it really was. And then you can go add value from a standpoint of trying to edify, which means you teach and you empower them. It's usually something more like you build them up personally, and then you teach them about how the solution of the product or service. Okay. But backing up on this, guys, the secret isn't selling the product. It's selling the solution. It's always selling the situation, the problem. The more you lean into the problem and teach them about the problem, they can see the gap. Great salespeople don't sell the solution, they sell the gap. Amazing salespeople make that gap massive. And so asking questions, understanding, empathizing, putting them first allows you to really build on that gap, understand them, and simultaneously build the pain around the situation. So the greater the pain they feel, and as long as they understand and empathize with you and connect with you and trust you, then they will innately see you as the solution and ask you, what's next? How do we move forward? You guys have to remember your selling points, no matter how good it is, how obvious it is, will always fall on deaf ears until the person you're trying to influence feels seen, heard, and understood. With that, guys, I want to close this podcast with a quote from the book of Proverbs. It says, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." So my challenge for you guys is seek first to understand before you seek to be understood, not just with your sales, but with your business, your people, also your relationships. Slow down, take time for you, take time to understand your product. I had just one of my leaders the other day where I said, hey, take the day off, get some conviction on this. I think it'll benefit you in the long run. So with that, love you guys. Hopefully this was helpful. Go crush it.